guys, today is the day we're gonna be making some Christmas goodies. I put on all my lights, all the Christmas lights, and got some Christmas music going. I'm in the zone, time to get started. I don't know that I'm gonna get everything done. I might do another round of this next week, but I'm bringing some stuff to somebody tomorrow, so I know I gotta get started. And I'm gonna be doing some things that I've shared with you in the past, some things that I've been making like since I was a kid. And then we're also going to try a couple of new things. I'm gonna get my hair up because you always wanna have your hair up. I don't want hair in the goodies. And we're gonna get to, I would say baking, but only one of them actually is going to be baked. At least that's on my plan for today. But let's get to making. So I'm gonna be using this almond bark. I picked mine up from Aldi, but I know you can get it like at Walmart or other grocery stores. You can also use melting wafers or even chocolate chips. Chocolate chips, you might wanna add a little bit of oil or butter in there as you're melting it. You can do this on a double boiler. I'm just gonna do mine in the microwave. And I'm gonna start with the one that we always did in my house growing up. And we're gonna start by melting the vanilla chocolate or vanilla almond bark. If you're melting in the microwave, just make sure that you do it in increments, stirring it in between to help break it up. But you can also do it on the stove, a double boiler or a makeshift double boiler. But just to keep things moving, we're gonna do it in the microwave. While that's melting, I'm taking just some regular little pretzel sticks and I'm breaking them about in half. And I want about, so I'm adjusting it a little bit because I'm making so many different kinds. I'm gonna make a smaller amount. But if you use 1 pound of chocolate, you want 1 cup of pretzel sticks and then 1 cup of peanuts. And these are the ones I'm gonna use. So I'll do a little bit less than 1 cup of each because I'm adjusting it a little bit because I wanna make a bunch of variety. All right, it's all melted and smooth. So we're gonna pour in our add-ins. And of course, there's so many things you could add in, but this is the traditional one that we always did when I was growing up. And now I've got a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. You can also do wax paper. This is probably a bigger one than I need, but that's okay. And we're just gonna spread this out. Personally, I think the key is to not have it too thick because then it's hard to eat and it's hard to break it apart. And it may not look like a lot, but when you break it all up, I always have plenty. All right, just pop this in the freezer, or I guess you could do the fridge if you don't have room in your freezer. Just for a little bit to harden up. It does not take long. If it's in the freezer, it might take like 10 minutes or just until you get ready for the next one. I'm gonna start working on another one while this freezes. For this next one, I'm gonna make a layered peppermint bark. So I melted some of the chocolate almond bark and I'm gonna put in, I'm using a food grade peppermint essential oil, but you can also use peppermint extract. Again, if you use peppermint oil, make sure it's a food grade one. Don't just like go pick it up from the grocery store. That's probably not gonna be safe for consumption. I got a smaller cookie sheet out for this one. We're going to just spread this out. I do want this to be a pretty thin layer because we're going to be adding another layer on top and we don't want the whole thing to be too thick. All right, we'll put this in the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, now I'm doing another one with the chocolate almond bark and we're gonna do it like the first though with just pretzels and peanuts. I'm not measuring them because I use this measuring cup for the chocolate. So I'm trying to do a variety of things, but going back and forth using the same dishes so that I don't have to keep washing stuff. So we're just gonna put some in and guess on this one. This will have a slight mint taste because there might be some remnants of peppermint, but that's all right, that's all good too. We'll spread this out just like the first. I will say, heating this up, these dishes get quite hot. All right, repeat the process, pop it in the freezer. This one is now out of the freezer, so I'm just gonna slide this out and I'm just going to start breaking it. You can do this ahead of time and just keep it in the freezer or the refrigerator. I'm not sure where it cut off, but my memory was full, so it stopped recording. I'm gonna just put everything into baggies for now, and once I see what I have, we'll put together the little goodie treats that I'm gonna be, some of these will be saved for Christmas, but some I'll be giving away. And I got these little buckets because I couldn't find tins. So little Christmas buckets. Anyways, this one is done. I'm gonna pop this in the, well, probably the freezer or the fridge, because right now my freezer is kind of full. We're gonna go back to the layered peppermint bark. I've got 4 candy canes in here. I'm just doing this on top of my dish drying mat so I don't destroy my countertop, and I'm just gonna use the flat edge of a mallet. Of course, you can buy these crushed pieces now, but I'm old school. I crushed them myself. All right, so I melted more of the vanilla. Trying to get some peppermint, if I can get it to... All right, so I keep running out of storage. Apparently I need to do some serious cleaning out on my storage, but I stirred in some peppermint. Pull this out of the freezer, and we're gonna add the vanilla on top, and we're gonna just try to just spread it without, you know, pressing or anything, because we don't want to blend it. And the hot chocolate, I just realized I might be blocking the camera. Might be black, or might be, oh my goodness. The hot vanilla chocolate, or almond bark, is likely to melt the chocolate, so a little bit. So you don't want to press too hard because you don't want it to blend it together. So I'm just going to gently spread this out. Now we're just going to sprinkle the crushed candy cane on top. I'm going to very gently, very barely tap it down into the white chocolate so that it doesn't just come out when we break this up. And then we're gonna pop this back in the freezer. All right, we're gonna move on to a cookie recipe. These are raspberry cheesecake thumbprint cookies. I've never made these before, but I'm excited about them. I can just open up this cream cheese. We're gonna start with 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. Come on. And 8 tablespoons of butter, also room temperature. All right, we're just going to cream this together until it's nice and mixed together. Now I'm gonna add in the sugar, which is 1/2 cup plus 3 tablespoons. And mix that together really well. Now we're gonna add in our flour a little bit at a time and then mix it as you go. But altogether you wanna do 1 cup of flour plus 3 tablespoons. Got a little thick for the mixer, so we're just gonna do the rest of this by hand. You wanna do this just until combined. All right, we're just going to cover this and put this in the fridge for at least 30 minutes up to 2 hours. All right, so it has been a couple of hours, hence the dirty pots on the stove, because I did stop for dinner. All right, so we're just gonna use the cookie scoop. Okay, it doesn't wanna work. This is a great start. I'm gonna roll it in a ball, place it on a lined cookie sheet, lined with parchment paper. Can you see it? Can you see it? And it's not working. Trying to make an indent with my thumb, but it's wanting to crack. I wonder if it's too cold. That's okay. We're gonna work it out. I'll show you. It's working out just fine. You can't see it though. Let's try this again. The dough is so firm that it keeps messing up my little scooper. All right, roll it into a ball, put it down. See, when I do the thumb, it's cracking like that. So I am just pushing it back together, pushing my thumb. I don't know what I did wrong, but it's fixable. I don't know if it's too cold. It was in there longer than it said. Maybe that was the problem, because it said in a 1/2 hour to 2 hours. Probably, I don't know, it's been a while. It's late. It might be 11 o'clock at night. I have no idea. But we're gonna make it work. So you're just gonna scoop them, roll them, press them. Scoop, roll, press. Got that? All right, so these came out pretty good. All in all, I was able to get them all in one large cookie sheet. They're not all exactly the same size, but I did the best I could. This is the, I don't know if you can see it. This is the preserves or fruit spread I'm using. It says a 1/2 teaspoon. I suspect that in some I'll put a little bit more. All right, let's try this again here. Basically, you're just gonna fill it up, but I am using a 1/2 teaspoon measuring. All right, we're gonna bake these at 375 for 11 to 12 minutes. All right, the recipe says to leave them on the pan to cool for a full 10 minutes. I'm hoping they're all right because they look a little bit brown around the bottom, and usually sitting on here, they'll continue to bake, but the recipe says to leave it for a full 10 minutes, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so it has been 10 minutes, and it says to very carefully, I'm just checking them. Okay, they're golden brown, but they're not burnt. You're going to very carefully transfer them to a cooling rack and let them cool completely. All right, so now I'm making something called cream cheese mince. I have some cream cheese that is softened, some that is not. So we're just gonna kind of mash it together. You need 3 ounces of cream cheese that has been softened. This is something that I made a lot when I was little. You can also divide it up and add food coloring if you want. We always used to do that, but I try not to use artificial food dyes now, so I don't. I'm gonna also add in some peppermint oil. Once again, you can use peppermint extract. And we're gonna just mix this together. Doesn't look like a lot, but it's plenty. And now we're gonna add in a total of 2.5 cups of powdered sugar. It could vary a little bit, but you're gonna do it gradually. So just gonna add some, stir it, add some, stir it. It might feel like nothing's happening, but it is. You may have to add a little bit more or less if it's too sticky. Like I still may have to add a little bit more of this, but I'm moving to my hands. Yes, I do need to. I got a little bit of powdered sugar ready before I got my hands in here because I knew once they were in here, they'd be messy. You just kind of have to be patient with it, and you want to work it into a dough. You don't want it dry and crumbly, but you don't want it sticking to your hands too much. Or really at all. I mean, it's going to be a little bit gummy, I guess, but you don't want it like sticky. This is a fun one to do with kids too. It's easy. It's a fun like hands-on one. I always liked it when I was a kid. All right, once you have the right texture, if you wanted to do colors, this is where you would divide it up and do colors and knead that coloring into it. But I'm just going to do white, and I'm going to just do little balls. You don't want them super big. And I'm just gonna lay them out on some wax paper. So as you can see, this little bit of 3 ounces of cream cheese still creates a lot of dough. And what you wanna do is lay them out on wax paper or parchment paper, and then take a fork and we just smush them. And then they're just going to air dry. So if they're too sticky, this will stick. Don't push down too hard or they'll stick in there. So do that one more time. Ball. It's a little messy. It's all right. Roll it in some granulated sugar and then push down gently with a fork. And you'll just let these dry out at room temperature. Just they kind of become a little bit harder, a little crusty. And these are very rich, very sweet, so a little goes a long way when eating them. I love these things and can still only usually eat a couple at a time. Okay, so I put all of these together in this tote or a little bucket. I don't know what you call it, but something I picked up from the Dollar Tree. These are going to the ladies at the bank. I don't know, I brought some for them last year and they really liked it, so I'm bringing some again this year with some different items, but I still have plenty of leftover. You can see here. I did flip these over just to get them dried out on the bottom. Got more of that, more of this one, which was a little hard to cut. I think it may be because it was in there too long. And sometimes the layers was separating when I did cut it into pieces. So I haven't mastered that, but it still looks pretty and I'm sure it still tastes good. And I did have Jesse give the cookies a try because I wanted to make sure they were good before I brought them to someone, and he said they were really, really good. So I will have recipes linked down in the description box below, although the chocolate ones are not really recipes, just kind of ideas of combinations. But for the cookies and the cream cheese mint, I will have those linked down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.